Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is the Always Project behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, when we were filming, it took us a month and a half to finish. We had both Ava and Gwen, our character A and character B, present. Gwen is character B, Ava is character A. And so when we were filming, it would always be one person's day. So for example, for the day one, we had characters A opening scenes. However, we also had character B behind the camera, kind of just helping, figuring things out, just to be there to be included in the process. It was also my first time figuring things out, so I had to quickly learn how to do directing cues, how to get everything situated with scenes and getting things ready on a timely manner. Because when I was working on my time, it would really just be, oh, what can I do? What can I do? But now I had to actually figure it out in a time efficient way.
Yeah. I'm telling Ava, be somber. She says dead dog.
I don't know.
Alright, so for behind the scenes, day one, this is character A's opening scenes. We had both Ava and Gwen present behind the camera. I did the acting cues, the directions. I had to figure out how to do filming behind the camera. When I was doing my solo films, I would have the camera set up, I would run, be on scene, and I'd do it completely blind. So it was really nice to actually have myself know what style I'm doing, have the take look right instead of struggling with having kind of my actors figuring out everything while I was on the other end. As well as it is also very difficult for communication. There's a lot of areas for miscommunication, lack of direction, error. I had a vision for what I wanted for the Always Project film, and if I didn't communicate that, then we wouldn't have the result that we did. So there's a lot of learning on my part, as well as we're friends. I was working with my friends for acting, and when your friend is just like there with like a tripod trying to film you, it can be very difficult to keep it straight faced. The beginning scenes for especially the character A's opening scene was a somber, for somber acting, so we would break so many times. That was definitely difficult. But it's even the little things, it's the eye shot. So that's when I'm only recording the eyes, trying to direct emotion through the pace, the appearance, where the eye is tracking. This is because it's a silent film. I didn't want any dialogue in it, so when I was doing it, I had to kind of direct it in a way that was understandable to my actors. I had a little trick, I called it triangulation. So I would say, yeah, just can you do a triangulation? And she would kind of know what is happening, and we'd figure it that way. For me, that means taking existing objects behind the camera, having our actor go from, say, surface to surface and then back. I'd always say follow an invisible thread, and we'll see how that goes, especially with like pace, so maybe I would count.
And then just, I'm looking at the bottom of the bench.
Yeah.
That good? And then just
Yeah.
blinking periodically.
Another advantage of doing a silent short film is I didn't have to do any pauses with my actors knowing. They would just have to determine things with my cues present. I could speak while we were filming. That was that was amazing. I would be like, yeah, so shooting in 3, 2, 1. Maybe I would start filming just a few seconds before, just because if I get my actor there and they're in motion and they're still before doing the movement I want them to do, then that was perfect. And I definitely use that to my advantage. Sometimes behind the scenes, we were just messing around. We weren't really strict on time. This was our first shooting day, so we were like just having a fun time with Gwen found the bird. We were both tracking the bird instead of actually filming. So we do unintentional breaks like that. But it's very nice to have kind of like a friendly environment for acting, because it's also a safe place. Acting can be weird, it can be awkward, and it definitely worked trying to have everyone there and being like, we got this. Everyone is working on something new all at the same time. We'll figure it out.
Oh my gosh. This is my crew.
Still there.
I need him to stay. I need him.
Where are you?
As for directing, it's even the shortest shots that take multiple takes due to misdirection or what I want for a desired scene. This can be, so for the example, character A is to look up, brush her hair behind her ear while also turning in a natural way to look at our subject, which is the other bench was a chalked up for a message that said, I think, yeah, you belong always. And so, or something about you belong, I believe, or I believe in you always. There we go. And so we needed that movement to be natural. We were struggling because it was either we went 1, 2, 3 and look, instead of doing it smoothly during the count. So there's a lot of little things that take a lot of time, especially with doing a short film. That's silent because you can't communicate during dialogue. There's a lot of things that struggle with a silent film is you can't convey emotion through dialogue. You have to do everything through body language. That can be very difficult depending on the context, and we went through that for so long, but it worked. So for behind the scenes of day 2, so this is character B's opening scene, we had 3 actors present. We had my character A, my character B, and our extra actor. And so right off from the beginning, our first shot had a problem. We had to troubleshoot it. When you're looking at the screen from that certain angle, it was a cloudy day, so the clouds would show up in the reflection. Of course, very busy, very white, and just you could not see the text. So we were like, okay, what do we do? We had thought it was going to rain the previous days. I already had an umbrella in my bag. So if you look closely into the clip, you can see that there's actually an umbrella over, I'll put a photo up, but we were on a bench. I was fixing the camera, my actor was sitting down, we had someone on top doing an umbrella. It looked crazy. And I honestly, it was even more awkward because we were in public. It was their first time, like first time being on camera and trying to figure out how to do the short film. And of course it was the most wildest, like, non-discreet scene ever. So when filming, we figured out that most of our scene ideas won't work in the final cut. So there's a lot of troubleshooting, and I was perfectly fine with it. I knew that it would take a while, but I guess a tip would be, if you're gonna do a short film and you know that maybe something's not gonna work out because you can only look at the footage after the shooting day, take as many angles as you can. Take multiple angles, take different focus shots, do focus in different areas, see if you can pan left, pan right, to get that continuity from your other shots. So we figured out that if I do multiple angles, one won't work and one will. That's kind of what happened here. This is a scene that we didn't use because I just didn't like it. I had the vision of like maybe a pan up, but I did it wrong. I stood up with them. But we also had this scene coming from the side that worked better for it. And sometimes you can figure that out while you're on set. You can figure out, you know what, this isn't working, we're gonna go here. Or you figure out in post and be like, hopefully we have this. Which of course, if I was doing a professional film, that would be a big issue because I'm using up their time. I am having to redo everything in post editing. If that doesn't work, then we screwed up the film. Maybe we have to refilm something. But it's not that serious because it's just my random film idea that we decided to do. Maybe in the future I will have that issue, but right now we went swimmingly. It worked perfectly. So with the continuity of the surrounding adjacent films, multiple angles, also filler shots. So as long as the multiple angles of getting, say, point A and point B, looking at subject C, you could do an ABC kind of, that doesn't make sense. Basically from first point to second point, there can be quite a difficulty in the transition. To make it look smoother, to fill this, kind of like an animation, you want to do more of these filler scenes. So when character B was getting up from the bench, we did, instead of just doing character B in one shot getting up and going and turning, we did 3. We did character B going to grab their bag, standing up, we did the shoes, walking, then we did another shot of them behind doing that turn. And even when those shots do work, we also do a lot of final cut editing. I say we, it was just me. I was doing the editing. Sometimes the final cut doesn't work, we have to trim it down. This happened especially when we were doing the door scene when someone was coming in. I figured out that I told my actor previously, I said, it's okay whatever you do after this point when you close the door because we're gonna do another angle where we're closer, because I had that visually. I was like, that's my visual plan. When you look at this video, look at the very end. So Gwen actually makes a face to the camera, and it's very funny because if we actually had to use that clip, maybe I would have to use one of the other tries, but that try was really good, so I like that clip. As well as that door scene, we actually asked for public permission from the cafe because I knew that it would be a disruption if we're opening it hundreds of times of getting questions, or if the customers are going in and out, if are we at the door, are we in the way. So I did go in, I was like, hey, we're doing a short film, is it okay if we use your door? Of course, we wouldn't try to be a disruption to anyone else. We would get out of the way instantly, whatever you need, or we can move on. They're like, yeah, sure, you can use it. I'm like, great. So we used it, and it went good for the scene, because I wanted character B, their realization of, I want to be kind is by an opportunity. And so that's how that happened. We were like, let's have you open the door for someone. There we go. So for this next blooper, and for many of the other ones actually throughout this whole film, we figured out that the actors need to go way slower than was natural to them. Often people are walking their pace and the camera can't keep up. Either it's a frame rate issue or it just looks unnatural for the style of film I wanted. For the Always project, I wanted the characters to be more slow, more thoughtful, especially in a silent film. You could surely get away with it if the feeling was intense or stressed, or maybe they were rushing to get somewhere, they were missing something. But instead we wanted it to be more slow. So there's many shots where I was like, yeah, we're gonna restart. Can you walk a little slower? And they're like, oh yeah, right. Forgot about that. So there's some where it's them going slow. Some bloopers, it's sometimes error by the actor. In this one, Gwen just accidentally makes full eye contact with the camera, and then other times, the same shot, it was my error where I had Gwen completely out of focus when she was coming behind me. So here's the approved clip where we got the focus, and Gwen was looking past me. 2, 1. Alright, so for behind the scenes, day 3, this is character A's creation scenes. So we had to adapt to many angles, especially throughout the beginning of this, because we wanted it to continue kind of from the beginning of character A's first scene, but we wanted to show a time shift of them coming back. Of course, time changes. This was maybe a week later. We had a stranger in the bench kind of next to him, and so that when we were doing our setting shots, we usually would use that bench, especially because it had the writing on it. So we had, in this one, we had Ava trying to go to sit down in the bench, trying to do it smoothly, like maybe a step in. The first shot I couldn't do because I realized the guy was completely in the background. And then the second shot, it caused us to adapt. So it caused us to adapt to a new angle. Really liked that, really enjoyed that, the new focus. So sometimes when you have to adapt to the public and the background and any viable option that wasn't really in the first in your mind, it can challenge you to do better, and you'll get better results. I loved it because this one looked way smoother than me just trying to do it from behind. It was just so much better. So how do we get continuous shots during the jump cuts of Ava's creation scenes? So you can see maybe there's a second camera. Someone asked me once where Ava goes to do something and it's shown the exact same way on a separate angle. That's because I quite unprofessionally would tell them freeze, and they would be like, oh, okay. I would move, change the tripod, get the camera focus different, and say resume in 3, 2, 1. And freeze. Continue in 3, 2, 1. And so I would do a resume and freeze for my directing cues, as well as shooting in 3, 2, 1, depending on what we were doing. Another factor out of our control whenever we were filming was the wind. We were working with paper, of course, instead of the rocks for the shooting day. So whenever we would put a paper down, it would just blow away. Whenever we would try to have a stack of papers, because that was the aesthetic I was going for, it would just fly away. Behind the scenes, we didn't get a video of it, but Gwen is currently sat on the grass watching us as we were trying to film this little segment. A paper flies off of the pile and cartoon character style into her face. We lost our minds. So I wish I filmed it, but I didn't. 2. Oh my god.
Gwen.
Gwen, can you tell the wind to stop? Stop. You're holding my princess in.
Cameo.
Okay, go. Okay, go.
So factors that were in our control was what's in the background. I was like, hey, the focus is fine. If the focus is on you, then what's in the background doesn't matter. Do not follow my advice on that. You can see my Jeep. You can see my tripod. It's on the complete table for character B's creation scenes, and my tripod just decides to be there. No, it's character A's scene. Yeah, my tripod was just on the table, and then my Jeep is in the background. Our bags are always shown in the background. In some of the next clips, we just have our bags there, and I'm like, you know what? It's not that serious. We'll be fine. Which is also another advantage I love to take. And get your hand out frame. Just back up. There we go. Shooting in 3, 2, 1. And again, just walking too fast, and here's the fixed pace. Alright, so for behind the scenes of day 4, this is character B's creation scenes now. They're painting the rocks, they're distributing them later. So again, we start with an angle that's they're too fast, so we fix that with pace. And then this one, so the issue of continuity is if you're doing a traveling scene where they're walking and you're doing different angles for how they're walking, maybe behind a tree, to feet, to whatever, as I was trying to do here, I messed up the angle completely, and I didn't want to flip it. So I wanted everything to be authentic. I didn't want anything to be edited like that wild. So I completely omitted the clip. You will not see it in the final cut. But they're walking to the right, and then suddenly I have their feet going to the left, or something like that. So, had to change that up completely. This one, I don't know what happened. It's definitely my device, and just how it adapted automatically to the ISO or whatever. The lighting, even in the shade, was completely different from the lighting that I have in the second clip, where I'm in the shade, but I'm pointing here, but as soon as I went aerial, everything like went to this white, like grayscaled kind of, everything was blotchy. We had to use it. It was my best angle. I didn't have anything with Gwen staying down that wasn't in that angle. So I used it, and again, not that serious. I'm glad that we can make our mistakes, and I'll definitely learn next time that I need to really focus on what's in frame and be like, okay, that's not right. We should try another angle. Or yeah, just do different angles for the same exact clip. Even if it causes more time, at least the final clip will have more variety and more abilities to more options to go off of. So another challenge that is definitely difficult with doing a short film where you're doing art or painting or anything where one shot has to be, it's a one take opportunity. We did painting, we did paint mixing, that we were like behind the camera is that purple? Decided we had to adapt, add white. And of course when you're filming and you're editing, you have to edit every piece in. Well, that's my preference, because then you're not missing out on anything. If the set suddenly changes halfway through and you're like, when did that happen? You have to kind of include it in context. So that was us mixing the paint. And this infamous clip that I'll show you in just a moment, Gwen is painting a ladybug. We didn't realize that she didn't know that the ladybug's head was black and not red. So we figured out how to fix that in the final cut. You'll just see Gwen going over the black head, and good thing it was jump cuts because it was really funny. We couldn't really wipe it off, it'd make a mess. So yeah, that's just what happens. You know the head is black, right?
What? I can wipe it off. I can literally wipe it off. Is it too late? Is it too late? Pause. That's hilarious.
We should have shown you what a ladybug looked like.
Yeah, it has a black head.
What? Okay, pause. What the red? What the red? I can wipe it off. Just too much. Should I?
Wings are
We'll just do. We'll let it dry for now. Just place it down.
Okay.
Their wings are red, but their bodies are
What are you
black.
on about?
Their wings are not red. Their wings are clear. It's just the shell above is there.
Okay, pause. Where do we go from here?
We'll do black over the red.
Over
It'll be
there.
okay. And again, there's a bag in the background. It's on the bench. For this one, I had unclear directions. Gwen was taking the rocks out of the box way too quickly. I didn't really communicate that I wanted it to be like a jump cut, like, oh, over time, she's taking rocks, instead of being like 1, 2, 3, because maybe she was thinking we'd have a pile of rocks that we'd take from. So I needed to communicate that clearly. That was completely on me. And again with set continuity, I of course spilt the water all over the paint palette. We had to kind of fix it. It was good, but if I'd messed that up any more, then maybe it would look bad. It was a jump cut to like right after all of the art was done, so it could be messy, but it was the way I did it.
We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. That did not happen.
I may have dropped my phone into the paint palette.
Okay, he's kind of fat, but it's okay.
He's cute.
Oh, the black is on the purple. It's okay. It's okay, guys.
Mix it.
We're having some. Yeah, it's like gothic. It's like Kuromi color now.
And here's the feature writing on the back of the rocks that say, the Always Project. Sometimes they would say you belong always, or one of those sayings. And then on the letters I put inside, love the Always Project, and then my media tag. Which they aren't actually out because in the distribution scene, there was so much wind that I didn't bring tape, so it's not like we could keep them there. So the rocks are there, but the paper isn't. Alright, and here's the behind the scenes of day 5 and day 6. These are our final scenes for character A and B's distribution. For our first blooper, we have the wind. The wind blew the paper away completely. In this one, Ava just made Gwen laugh because we were finally working together on our final scenes. 3, 2.
Ava looks funny.
We had behind the scenes chaos, just laughing, doing whatever, saying whatever between cuts and everything.
Yo.
And then we'll have, you're gonna go pick it up because for some reason it fell closer to you.
We're gonna pretend that it did.
We'll
You just
pretend
really
it.
like going out of your way to like do stuff. It's
Sounds
the
like
way you were
all the way
running,
over there.
sprinting to the door.
Exactly.
Wait. Okay.
Oh my gosh, thank you for giving me my card back. No, take it. It's fine.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
I didn't remember that I needed to add more instructions in my cues to get my desired results. We had the card falling, and I realized I didn't communicate what I wanted. And so we have the fixed clip of her going for the paper to act like, oh, I didn't just, this is by accident, instead of just, well, let it go. So I had to communicate that further. And it's just a reminder, like, hey, I have this vision. My actors don't actually know what I'm doing at all. So behind the scenes, it's definitely true that you have to adapt to obstacles on the spot. Sometimes you're not going to have a quick answer. You're going to be stressed because you're realizing you're on their time, you're not on your time. And I kind of I froze. Because for the final scene, we knew what we wanted. We wanted character A and character B to swap their items, but I wasn't sure of how to do that in an awkward, kind of uncomfortable manner that was also decent and good to look at. It wasn't like a meet cute, like, oh my goodness, we're both gonna grab at the same time and look eye to eye. Did not know how to do that. And this was, of course, amplified the fact that we were doing it in public. It was the end of our shooting day, and this was the final scene. Completely froze. They helped me. We figured things out on the spot. So there are times where we will freeze, and I was happy that I worked with a crew that was patient with me, because I was like, I don't know. And they were like, I don't know either, but we'll figure it out, and we did. In 3, 2, 1. Perfect. And stop. 2, 1.
There is no staring. There's just sparring. On guard.
So to get away from the awkward kind of movements of if they were to do this whole scene in one go, they would break every time. We did in separate little parts. So we did grabbing something, moving somewhere, going up instead of full on like eye contact. If I wanted a scene where character A would look at character B would be behind me, character A would look at something in the distance, just to avoid that breaking and having everything go smoothly in the way I wanted without it being like lost by laughter and confusion. In this clip, I just needed to remind my actor that, you know, it's going to be uncomfortable. You don't actually, like, because they have their own lives. They're not really going to pick up a paper and, like, look up at someone and be like, here you go. So it's definitely unnatural to her, but I was like, it's such a good scene that you're going to be uncomfortable. We're still going to do it over and over. And it's honestly, it's the reality. You can't just, I guess if it was more professional, then you would definitely know that you're doing the scene. But we had to figure that out too. Gwen broke in the scene just in laughter. we didn't do anything, so we were confused in this clip. That's so funny. 2, 1, go for it.
Okay.
So sorry. I'm struggling.
And I realized that I needed to count to control the duration of some of my characters' actions, especially in this scene. I wanted to portray hesitation, that awkward feeling of they're exchanging something, they're unsure, they're kind of accepting, they like it, but they don't know why. And so in this scene, you can hear me go 1, 2 for when I had Gwen take the card. 2, 1, 1, 2. And lastly, the final scene was actually improvised. Well, we knew it was going to be one of the final scenes, but we didn't know exactly how it was going to work out. I like the scene because when you hear the directing cues, you can actually hear how much I've become comfortable with directing my actors. I say shooting 3, 2, 1. We do a triangulation look, again, object to object, back down, looking up, and then I realized, how about you just walk away? We'll have that as the fading scene. So I was like, keep going, so she could hear me. And then in my head, I knew that this would be the last scene. I knew that it would fade out to the title card. And I was like, yes! So once we were done that was the end of the film. 2, 1, look up, smile, look down again, and then do your triangulation. And then you're gonna turn and walk towards the beanery. Keep going. Alright, so if I were to refilm the OA's project, what would I do differently? This is something I do want to talk about because there's so many things where I figured out that I should have done it better. I wish I'd done it better. It was a thing of time, working with new people, and just figuring out kind of what's happening as we were going. So by far, the audio and music production were the worst elements for me. I originally planned on doing my own music. I'd play the guitar or something until the editing came up to 20 minutes, and I decided, you know what, I do not have the time for that. I leave in a week, so we're not going to do that. Instead, I purchased music, looked through it, kind of found some good moods, and put them through. As for audio, I was actually planning on going through back to our settings, and I would do an audio recording, maybe do some like wind, ambience. Didn't end up doing that. Instead, sometimes if I didn't have any directional cues said during an audio clip, I would keep the audio. Otherwise, I would mute the audio. So it was really based on what would I do differently. I would not do the filming in 3, 2, 1 and actually press recording before. Instead, I would probably direct that. After I say 3, 2, 1, we're going to have silence. We'll record, internally do a 3, 2, 1, and then do your action. That'll leave me enough time to get what I want with the audio that I want with a good background. This also means that I would have to go over every cue beforehand. Sometimes I would do the cues as we were filming. I would say, okay, and now do this, do a draw, do a happy face or something, and I would have to redo that, and I would basically have to plan more thoroughly. There was a lot of improvisation with this, so I would do it differently, definitely. As for the second thing, I would definitely review, I've said definitely so many times, I would review the shot list before every session, every day. I didn't do that, I wish I did. Instead, they were just bearing with me, trying to be patient as we were going through each shot one by one, instead of actually looking at the full day, being like, hey, this is what I want to do, this is kind of my vision, this is kind of what we're going to adapt towards. Because I did do one where I had I had shared with them the entire shot list for today's, though they're very vague. If we went over that, I think we would have had a better understanding of what was happening, as well as it'd be easier to communicate for them asking questions, to being like, hey, for this part, do you want me to do this or that, without feeling like I was also confused, because they had to be very patient, because sometimes I would just not know what I was doing. Probably should have. So yeah. Alright, so I'm in a different area. So as well as doing the shot list every day, just kind of going through it with my crew. For the third thing, I would definitely want to film more of the behind the scenes. I think it's so interesting. I wish I did more, especially the editing part. We do have some clips where I am currently trying to film something, or we're figuring something out, or the chaos between the scenes. Otherwise, I would want to show you guys my editing. That sounds so cool to me, because when I'm doing the editing, it looks complicated, and I feel like I'm actually doing something more productive than putting clips together. But it's like you're trimming it to do the timing, the music, and trying to do audio levels if there is audio, trying to figure out if I want the transition to go this way. And most of it is not linear. I'm sometimes using clips from another day to fill in for something. It's really cool, and I wish I was able to show that, but I didn't film any of it. So in reflection of my first short film, I would say I learned a lot about time management, working with people on their time instead of my time, trying to do films on certain days to match our schedules, everything, realizing that if we start later in the afternoon, that's going to cut us off because of the late evening, lighting, etc. Especially we cut it close to the last day of filming. We started this in July 7th. I was writing. We started filming on August 4th. That's when we were available. And then we cut it pretty close. Didn't know how many days it would take us to film it. We had a pretty good idea. We had chunks. So we knew introduction, making, distribution, whatever needed to be made. And then I knew that I had to leave at the end of August. So we really cut it close. Definitely learned time management. As well as I was very excited that I was able to actually showcase how I would make a film. Because I wasn't behind the camera for my short films. I was, but I wasn't. I would set on a tripod, I would set the scene, I would go onto the scene, and I would do it very blindly. I wouldn't know if I was actually doing it in frame, which meant I had to go back and forth, review the footage, see and criticize myself a bunch. So I'm glad that when working with other people, I can completely eliminate that factor. I was taking double of everything, trying new angles. I wasn't able to do panning, so I'd have to do it myself and like post film instead of actually doing it on the spot, reviewing as it's going. That made it so much easier. As well as just adapting on the fly, understanding that there's factors that are completely out of your control, whether it's the environment, the public, just something isn't working out. You just have to understand that you're gonna do it either way. You'll figure it out. This is obviously easier for me because it's not a professional film, so I have to do what I need to do for whatever. I guess I'm not really calling this like a serious short film, but I still think it took a lot of effort. It took much time. It took acting skills, editing skills, a lot of little parts of it that I'm like, okay, it's serious, but it's not like there's consequence if we mess this up. And the last thing is communication is key. It was about figuring out that I needed to do directing cues, everyone needed to be on the same page, timing needed to be good, we had to work together, sometimes argue, being like, oh, what if this doesn't work, what if this works, figuring out our angles, new things, what were our characters going to look like, what were some background information we needed to keep in mind, communicating when a scene should be done, the setting, our timing, our schedules, literally everything is so important to be on the same page. So I'm really grateful that it turned out the way it did, the bloopers and all. Well, so this is the Always project behind the scenes. I'm Amber Gray, the director of it, and I'm very glad everything turned out the way it did. So thank you for watching, and I'll leave you off with the note that you matter always, and you're always enough. Have a good one.
Again.
You gotta do it in slow-mo.
I have resting scared face, and that's okay.
I have RF, resting face.
forbidden scene, bro.
Snort.
You know the head is black, right?
What?